Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our reactions to the Miami Sprint qualifying. A very interesting session here today. I was thinking to myself as we entered SQ3, I was thinking, oh dear, there's not really much to talk about here, I might struggle in the video. And then SQ3 happened, and we've got quite a bit to talk about. Let's get into all this, though, starting with, firstly, remember to like and subscribe. Secondly, huge shout out to the members: Dakota, The Joyous James, Robin Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, Michael Johnson, Mr. Eurovision 1986, Philip Doganzik, Andy Skick, and No Edam on Sandwiches. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description either on YouTube or on Patreon. That is up to you, of course. They are the members. Before we get into this as well, though, two things to mention about Max Verstappen. Firstly, he has officially now become a father. Him and his partner Kelly Piquet have had their child named Lily Verstappen. Lovely name there. The 2049 Formula One World Champion has been born. And I look forward to analysing that season when we get there. Also, alongside a new child, Max Verstappen also has a new floor coming into this race weekend as well. Not the full floor, only the floor fence and the floor edge, but this is parts of the big Imola upgrade that was promised that have been brought a race weekend early. It's only on Verstappen's car, Sonoda hasn't got it as of just yet, and I think it's not fully done yet because there wasn't a floor body upgrade, which we might get when we get to Imola. So, two new things from Max Verstappen this weekend. But let's go into SQ1. Like I said, relatively uneventful until the end. So SQ1 itself, nothing really to write home about. At the end of the session, in 20th place, unfortunately, was Ollie Behrman. Gabriel Bortoleto in 19th. The biggest shock was Yuki Tsunoda in 18th place. It's Yuki's first Q1 exit of any kind this year. Realistically, though, looked like both a failure on his behalf and on the team's behalf because he didn't do his final fastest lap. He did one lap where he went very deep into, I was going to say it's the final corner, but realistically it's not because there's two after it. But it's that last long straight round the back of the Miami track. Then there's that near right 90-degree left-hander. He went quite deep into there. That messed up his time from there. Then, getting prepared for his last lap at the end, firstly, it seems like Red Bull messed up in some way, maybe letting him go out too late. Also, I don't understand the thought process of Max, who was safe, was out before Yuki was. I would have done it the other way around. But also, I don't know if either Max went deep into that corner as well on that lap, or Max was just trying to let Yuki past on that lap. But either way, on that corner where Yuki went deep on the previous time, on that last one, Max goes deep, he moves over to the side, but instead of just going past him, Yuki just slows down and waits, and then Max just kind of gets on the throttle and pits. And that moment of him slowing down and waiting means that when he gets to the line, the checkered flag is already out, and he doesn't have an opportunity to actually do his lap time. So, real messed up in multiple departments for Yuki Tsunoda there, which means that tomorrow he will start from 18th place. Jack Doohan also had a similar issue, where he didn't get set a fast lap at the end either. He was incredibly unhappy. On the radio, whilst he's walking to the weighbridge, you can see how unhappy he is. Like, even 10-15 minutes later in the media, you can see how unhappy he is. With him, what happened was him and Gasly went out at the same time, and there's a very narrow pit lane here in Miami, and when he turned the wheel, it did not have enough steering lock on it, and he had to be rolled back and then kind of pushed through again. By the time they had done that, a few cars had got in front of him, which meant that by the time he got round, he did not have enough time to set his lap. He was blaming the team, saying that the two of them shouldn't have gone out at the exact same time. I don't necessarily understand that criticism, because I feel like the issue was his car steering, not that they both went at the same time. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but either way, he was not happy, and he will start from 17th. Lance Stroll was the last to be knocked out as well. He was in 16th place there. Going into Q3, and rather uneventful yet again, unless your name is Pierre Gasly or Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz did not set a lap time at all in this session. He had a huge lockup coming into, I think it's just the end of Sector 2. There's that long DRS section in the middle part of the track. Then it goes into that left, then a big old right, then that bit under the bridge. But yeah, he got a huge lockup there, and he has ruined his time. Didn't set a time at all. He'll start 15th. Liam Lawson was very unhappy with his lap as well. Big mistakes for him. He's in 14th. Pierre Gasly tapped the wall on his lap. He's in 13th. Esteban Ocon is in 12th, the first of the people to actually not make a mistake and still be kicked out in 12th. And you know what? A round of applause to Nico Hulkenberg, who I thought might just make it through. It was on the cusp. Lewis Hamilton was in the drop zone, but he set a fastest lap. Not a fastest lap, but a fast lap right at the end of the session to knock out Nico Hulkenberg, who in the Sauber is 11th and was just 0.077 second off of being into SQ3 in this track. So a wonderful performance from Nico Hulkenberg to make it through. But then let's go to SQ3. And initially the ones on the track, the only ones on the track were Verstappen and George Russell. And Verstappen says a time, and I thought, oh, that's quite good. And then George Russell went like 3 tenths of a second quicker, and I was like, "Oh dear, what times are we doing here?" Russell then pits and does not come out again for the rest of the session, whereas Verstappen stays out, does a few cool down laps, and then does another fast lap at the end of the session with everyone else who is just doing that one lap. So as we cross the line, as the checkered flag goes down, here is our top 10 for the sprint tomorrow. Firstly, another round of applause for the man in 10th. Fernando Alonso got the Aston Martin to 10th. No idea how he's done it. Maybe tomorrow he'll have to gain 2 positions. But can Fernando Alonso score a point in 2025? This is his best chance yet. A fantastic 10th place for him. Isaac Hadjar is in 9th in the beautiful pink Racing Bulls. Alex Albon in 8th. Lewis Hamilton was 7th. Charles Leclerc in 6th. That fantastic initial George Russell lap time is only good enough for 5th as we cross the line. Max Verstappen was in 4th. Then, as we get into the top 3, it's Lando Norris 3rd, Oscar Piastri in P2, and then Kimi Antonelli, for the first time ever, will start a race from pole position tomorrow in the sprint race. Fantastic, fantastic stuff from him. This is Mercedes' first sprint pole since 2021, which is quite shocking there. They're only their 3rd sprint pole ever. It's his first pole position, the youngest ever pole position we've ever seen in Formula 1. Kimi Antonelli only 18 years old. Now, of course, the sprint stuff is weird because when it comes to the sprints, doesn't matter what happens, the stats don't really count. A sprint win does not go towards your overall wins, all that kind of stuff. So the official youngest ever pole sitter is still Sebastian Vettel. I looked it up before. He is... His pole came at the Italian Grand Prix 2008. He was 21 years old, 3 months and 11 days. So, Kimi Antonelli has still got quite a bit of time to break that record, and he probably will break the official record at some point. But as we sit here right now, first ever pole position for him. Also, with Piastri in P2, it gives us a front row with an average age of 21, which is ridiculous in itself. Piastri only 0.045 off the back of Antonelli. Norris was a 10th off the back of Antonelli, so a close top 10, but Piastri not too far behind at all there. Mercedes had some good pace here, and the big question I have from this session, and I don't want to take anything away from Antonelli because I thought he did absolutely fantastically, but my question comes in the form of this. Did Mercedes screw over George Russell? Because when you look at it, on the surface here, every qualifying session we've had so far, Russell has beaten Kimi Antonelli. So far, all that weekend until Q3, I believe Russell was quicker than Antonelli. I'll see if I can just do a double check on that before we carry on. But Russell seemed like, out of the 2 Mercedes, he was the guy. So in SQ1, George Russell was top, Antonelli was second, 0.17 behind. In SQ2, Antonelli did beat Russell, to be fair to him, he did. But then in SQ3, you had Russell go out straight away, set a lap time, and then pit. There was no chance of a tow. There was no track evolution that we always see. When the track was at its fastest, George Russell was in the pits. But Kimi Antonelli wasn't. Kimi Antonelli waited and waited and waited, went out with everyone else, and then set that wonderful lap time then. And it just makes me think, if Russell was out there at that time, would he be in a better position than fifth? I'd say probably yes, because he looked like he had some tremendous pace. Again, don't want to take anything away from Antonelli. Amazing job, what he's done there. I just have questions if I'm George Russell. And if I'm George Russell right now, and I'm the guy who's supposed to be the leader of the Mercedes team, done tremendously well all this year, honestly is in contention for driver of the season thus far. I'm supposed to be the leader of the team now that Lewis Hamilton's gone. Got this young gun by my side in Kimi Antonelli. My contract's up at the end of the year. If I'm sitting there going, well, why did you give me the strategy to go out then and Antonelli to go out then when it's faster? Question marks starting to arise in the Mercedes camp. Maybe. He may just let it go and just try and get better in the race tomorrow, which I think he could do. I think Max Verstappen deserves a shout out here because not only did he set that first lap time with high fuel, very similar to how he did in Saudi Arabia last time out when he got pole position, but also he was on that final lap time, of course, is now on used soft tyres. Not only his fast lap time, but I think he did like 2 cool down laps as well. So used soft tyres, he got the car in 4th place. I think a fantastic job from him to do that there. Sets up for what should be a very, very interesting race tomorrow. Do Mercedes have the race pace to fight off the McLarens? That's the big question. I don't know. And then Max Verstappen, as always, is just there. He's in contention. He's there or thereabouts. We'll see what comes of Max Verstappen tomorrow in the race as well. I don't think the Ferraris are really on the pace to challenge anyone. I think that, again, they'll be in a little world of their own. They're not fast enough to challenge the likes of the Mercedes, the McLarens, or Max Verstappen. They're faster than everyone else, which leaves 1 point position left in 8th. Who can get it? Will it be Alonso? Come on, you old man. Score 1 point. You can do it. We're all cheering you on. Right, the sprint will be tomorrow, as will be qualifying. Normally, I would say all the coverage will be here tomorrow, but as I sit here right now, I don't know if it will be. If you didn't watch the preview, it's my birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be out and about in the afternoon stroke evening, so I don't really even know if I'm going to be here for the sprint. I will cover the sprint at some point. It will either be tomorrow or Sunday morning, so subscribe for that. As for qualifying, unless something incredibly dramatic happens, I doubt I'll be having a video on it, but when it comes back around to Sunday, we'll have all the coverage of the race here on the channel. Driver ratings, as always, will be out on the Monday, and then Tuesday, it's the Stop and Go F1 Retro Review of 1981, the British Grand Prix. All that's to come on the channel, so subscribe for all of it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful time. Until next time, though, have a good one. I'll see you later. Goodbye.